Hello, dreamers. Welcome to Not So Average with Shon Wilson. I am your host, Shon Wilson. I'm an actress in Hollywood and I make content dedicated to encouraging you to pursue your dreams. I say that every time. I get it wrong every time. All you got to do is pursue it. You don't have to achieve it. So, if this is your first time here on my podcast, welcome. If you've been here before and we have history, welcome back. Today, we are going to ask the question, is the inability to be mentored keeping you from fulfilling your dream? Now, some of you might be like, Shon, what do you mean the inability to be mentored? Well, guess what? I'm going to explain it to you. See, some of us, particularly those of us who fall in the dreamer category, have a problem with authority. Some of us have a hard time not being in control. Some of us have a hard time looking like we don't know what we're doing. Some of us have a hard time accepting instruction. Now, there could be really good reasons for this.
Hey guys, it's Shon. Remember to comment, follow, and share.
I'm going to do the thing that I do in almost every episode when we talk about blocks to pursuing or fulfilling our dreams. And I am going to ask you to consider if it might have something to do with your past, particularly your past as a child. For instance, let's say you had bad parents. You wouldn't just have a problem with authority, possibly, but you might have a problem with leadership, period. In my case, I am of an independent nature. Part of that is because I was an only child for the first 6 years of my life. So I did a lot of playing by myself. I was in charge of what was going on in my bedroom, what books I read, what records I listened to, what imaginary games I played, what my dolls did. It was all Shon, all the time for 6 years. And even beyond that, because though my sister Christina came along when I was 6, it was a good long time before she was able to do anything. And on top of that, you guys, I wasn't the greatest big sister in the world, okay? Mostly because of the age difference, also because of some family dynamic stuff. So even when she got old enough to be able to play, I wasn't trying to play with her. She was just a little kid, right? So it is natural for me to conceptualize things on my own and natural for me to do things in the way that I came up with. And then you add to that the fact that in my particular case, and some of you might have a similar situation, I had a mother who often felt overwhelmed by the responsibilities of parenthood. And then I had a father who had zero interest in being a father at all. So because of this, I learned to be very self-sufficient at a very early age. At age 14, I went off to boarding school. Some of you know that. Some of you do not. And that was amazing. I didn't want to go at first, you know. And for those who don't know, boarding school and reform school are not the same thing. So I wasn't like a criminal sent off to some place to be punished. It was a place to prepare you for higher education. It was a college preparatory boarding school. And called St. Catherine's in Richmond, Virginia. Shout out. I loved it there. Because as I used to put it, there were no parents. So as early as age 14, I learned how to take care of myself with basic things like doing my own laundry, making sure I made the best use of my study time so that I could continue to have good grades. I self-parented a lot when I was younger, for many reasons. So because of that, I'm very used to taking care of myself and doing things my own way. You know where I'm going with this. For some other people, you had possibly had parents who were outright abusive. And so the idea of someone else telling you what to do triggers the fuck out of you, right? This might be you if you're one of those people who is extraordinarily smart, but you find yourself constantly being hired for menial work. The productivity of your life does not match the potential of your talent and intelligence. You might have had abusive parents, physically abusive, mentally abusive, verbally abusive. A lot of times those are doubled up. Sometimes you get all three. And so being able to take direction from others is hard for you. And then there are some of you who just have it in your chart. You're just built a certain way. You had great parents. You had smart parents. You had helpful parents, capable parents, present parents that affirmed and encouraged you. But you still came out dancing to the beat of your own drum with a clear direction of what you wanted to do and how you wanted to do it, and nobody could tell you nothing. Now, the thing is, if you fall into any of those categories, that could make it very hard for you to receive mentorship. And mentorship is very important when we are endeavoring to do something new. So what we're talking about today has mostly to do with the being dream and the doing dream. As I've mentioned several times before, there are three types of dreams: the dream of having something, the dream of being something, and the dream of doing something. With having something, I don't think you necessarily need to have a mentor as often, unless it's something like, oh, I want to have $1 million. Well, then, yeah, you need someone to mentor you financially, give you strong guidance on good financial decisions to help you get there. So maybe I could just throw out all the last 35 seconds of what I said. Maybe no matter what kind of dream you have, being able to find, connect with, and listen to a good mentor is important. If you have problems with authority or leadership, and a mentor tells you to do something that does not jive with how you see things, you can put up resistance. It might be the kind of resistance where you flat out just argue against it with that person and possibly harm the mentor-mentee relationship. Hopefully your mentor is wise enough and grounded enough to be able to see what's going on and help you see where the wisdom of their guidance is coming from. Though there is a strong difference between a mentor and a coach. And I feel like a coach is usually that kind of person that helps you overcome your internal blocks to whatever it is you're trying to do. A mentor basically is someone who has insights to what it is you're trying to achieve for yourself because they have already done it. Another possible drawback, downside, what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody will tell me, I'm sure. Another possible hindrance to receiving good mentorship, if you have a troubled history, is possibly picking bad mentors. You know, that concept of your picker being broken. If you haven't heard that before, this is something that gets talked about in lots of the healing modalities for emotional pain and injury. And you know, when you see someone or you are someone who's constantly finding yourself in really, really, really bad relationships with the same kind of person over and over again, they say that your picker is broken. And a lot of times they say that you're continually to pick the bad parent with whom you need to reconcile. Not reconcile as in get back together with that parent or be okay with that parent, but reconcile within yourself what happened in that parent-child relationship, right? So that same thing that can make you continue continuously pick the wrong person to date can also make you make really bad decisions on who to have as your mentor. You might inadvertently choose somebody who brings the same kind of energy as that bad parent did. Or worse, is a combination of two bad parents. There's also the possibility of you're not recognizing when someone's not actively being your mentor, but you've just cast them in that space because, again, of that, unfortunately, gaping hole within you from not being properly parented as a child. So when we have, let's fast forward to a situation where we have picked a good mentor, or a good mentor has chosen us. Someone has seen us in an environment and recognized something within us that they think has potential for whatever the thing is that you're doing. So you've got a good, healthy relationship with a mentor. And they tell you stuff and you second guess it, or you push back, or you flat out refuse to do it, or you get in your head too much about it for too long because you just can't trust the advice that you're given. This is one of the major drawbacks to achieving a dream. Because whenever we are pursuing a dream, whether it's the dream of having, the dream of being, or the dream of doing, we are usually attempting to do something that we have not done before. And because we have not done it before, no matter how smart we are or may think we are, we do need guidance. Some of this guidance can be gleaned from books. I am a big proponent of self-directed learning. I do a lot of it myself. But what a book can't teach you or give you advice on is how to deal with situations that involve someone else within the pursuit of your dream. Whereas someone who has the experience of doing that which you are trying to do, they can give you anecdotal evidence of how they dealt with it or how they should have dealt with it if they did not make the best of choices. So I wanted to talk about that today. I wanted to throw it out there because I know this is an area where I have struggled in my life. And it's not only when you are doing something new, but sometimes it's that you are attempting to advance in something that you already have significant expertise and experience. And because you know so much, I'm sure you guys know where I'm going. Because you know so much and you have so much experience, you may think you know everything, but you don't. I don't. Shit, half the time I don't even know what I'm doing today. And I'm like 700 years old. Just joking. Nobody's that old. I mean, that I know of. See how I said that as though I know for certain? I don't know. We don't know. And that's the major point of today's episode. We don't know. And even if we think we know, it benefits us more to go into situations with the open mind and open heart as though we don't know. It allows us to absorb more and to observe more. When I was doing ballet back in Charlotte, sometimes my schedule wouldn't allow me to go to the advanced level classes that I was actually at the skill level for because of something that came up with the acting, or I was teaching somewhere else or something. For whatever reason, I couldn't get to the right class for me on a given day. And so to make up that class, sometimes I would take a lower level class. And the benefit to that is there are things that you exercise and do at lower levels that are just assumed to be in your wheelhouse at those higher levels. And so when I would be forced to take these lower level classes, they moved at a slower pace. And because this was something that had to do with physicality, the more slowly we moved, the more strength it built in my body. So I say that to say, I could have been like, oh, well, I'm not taking that intermediate class, or I'm not taking that beginner class because I'm advanced. I could have. But see, because I had no ego attached to ballet, I didn't do that. Ballet wasn't my profession. It was just something I really loved doing. And it was the same teacher, just a different level class and different students. And going in with that kind of openness allowed me to strengthen myself. And I then took that strength into my appropriate level class whenever I returned to it. So in the case of being mentored in an area where you think you already know a lot, whether it's because you have firsthand experience or it's because you have done a lot of research on your own, when someone talks to you who's already where you want to be or has already done what you want to do, open your ears, open your heart, open your mind, shut your mouth, and listen to what they have to say. Because they may remind you of something that you have forgotten, or they may tell you something that you know, but from a different perspective. Or you might just strengthen that relationship with that person because they felt heard by you. That's what I got for you today, you guys. Ask yourself if you feel like you are not getting help in the area of your dream, and you feel like, say you're someone who feels very strongly like you would like help, but the help is just not there. Ask yourself, am I consciously or subconsciously rejecting that help? It could be that you know that you're pushing someone's advice away or closing yourself off from it. Or it could be that until listening to this amazing podcast, you didn't even know that was operational inside you. And now you know. It was like running, in the subconscious, like a computer program in the background, right? And now you know, so you can be conscious of it. Because it's kind of like that. There's a saying, I hope this is true. God, it's probably not. I don't know. I get most of my legal references from television shows. But there's this saying that ignorance of the law. Hold on. Wait, how does it go? It's something to the extent of ignorance of the law does not absolve you from responsibility to the law. Those aren't the exact words. But basically, just because you don't know that something is illegal doesn't mean that you're not going to get prosecuted for doing it. And so, why did I bring that up? I did so many digressions in that little moment. I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. I know it has something to do with dreams and mentors. Oh, yes. So, I remember now. So, that happening in the background, that being operational in your subconscious mind, the resistance to leadership, the resistance to authority, the resistance to bosses. If the word boss triggers you, you know you are one of those people I am talking to today. And I can say that because the word boss triggers the fuck out of me. You're not my boss. I don't work for you. I work with you. But hey, listen, right now I am giving the advice. So, But oh God, I did it again. Digressions. What was I talking about? Oh, operational background. Yes, subconscious. Okay, so that may have been keeping the opportunity to be mentored at bay. Even if it wasn't that someone gave you advice that you just didn't take or you pushed back against, but just someone even approaching you about possibly mentoring you. Or maybe you've asked people to mentor you and they just said no and you have no idea why. Because you check all the boxes. You have the skills, you have the brains, you have the talent. You're a professional. You're, in your mind, a lovely person. Check all the boxes, but people just keep not wanting to work with you or help you or guide you. It could be because they sense that you can't be guided. Because if that's going on in your background, you are emitting an energy. Some people talk about a vibration. I like the word vibe. If new agey shit turns you off, I'm not your podcast host. Just so you know, I love that stuff. While at the same time, I'm super practical. It makes for a fun life. Anyway, so you guys think about that as you go about your week. Hopefully something I said today was helpful to you. If it was, please let me know in the comments. Y'all, I want to remind you, I'm a performing artist. My nature is to do things for the entertainment and edification of others. And as much as I love bringing you guys this content, more and more it's starting to feel as though I'm talking to like an empty room. So do me a favor and just shoot me a message in the comments and let me know you are here and you are listening. Not only does that help keep me motivated, but it motivates the damn algorithms for all the platforms. And it lets people know that this is content it lets the people who run the platforms know that this is content audiences are enjoying. That is my appeal for today. If you have not already followed or shared this podcast with other people, please do that. But most importantly, comment for me and just let me know you're still here with me. Yeah, that's what I got. All right, guys, you know how I feel about you. Talk to you later. Bye. Wait, that's not my bye. That's my sister's bye. That's how my sister Cheryl says bye. Bye. Aren't my theme songs fun? I found them at Purple Planet Music. You can find music for your projects there too. Just go to purple-planet.com.